Welcome back to Sugar Bee. If you're obsessed with the Gilded Age like we are, then you're in for a treat. Episode 7's trailer just dropped, and it's packed with scandal, secrets, and high society showdowns. From Bertha Russell's bold comeback to hidden betrayals and shifting alliances, this episode looks like it's about to blow the lid off New York's most polished facades. So grab your tea and let's dive deep into what's next in this explosive chapter of Season 3. Quick recap of Episode 6. In Episode 6, tension simmered just beneath the polished surface of New York's elite world. Bertha Russell, still fiercely fighting for her place among the old money families, made a daring social move by once again challenging the Opera Committee's authority. Her boldness stirred fresh whispers across Fifth Avenue, especially after she openly defied Mrs. Ayres's preferences during the charity gala. While some admired her determination, others saw it as a step too far. Bertha knows the battle isn't over yet, but every choice she makes puts her under a sharper microscope. She's not just climbing the social ladder, she's daring to rebuild it. Meanwhile, Marion Brooke found herself caught between two difficult paths. Her heart remains uncertain, but her mind is beginning to accept that independence might come with a cost. Dashiell's offer is practical and safe, but it doesn't satisfy her longing for meaning or emotional connection. A conversation with Ada hinted that Marion is beginning to understand love, position, and duty may never align the way society expects. Marion is changing, growing more aware of the silent rules around her, and slowly deciding how much she's willing to obey them. On the financial side, George Russell faced a storm brewing in Washington. His efforts to expand his railroad empire ran into resistance, with government officials questioning his aggressive tactics. Still, George remained calm, working behind the scenes with practiced skill. What caught the audience's attention, however, wasn't just his business troubles, but a rare moment shared with Bertha at home, a quiet display of their true partnership and how much of their ambition is built together. They may not always agree, but they understand each other, and that makes them more dangerous to anyone trying to stop them. Agnes Van Ryn, the ever-sharp observer, appeared more reflective this episode. Her traditional views remain firm, but her scenes with Oscar showed she's beginning to realize the world is changing faster than she expected. Whether she adapts or resists remains to be seen, but her influence on the household is still powerful. A quiet but important moment also unfolded as Peggy Scott received a letter from a publisher interested in her work. It's the breakthrough she's been waiting for. Yet, the road ahead remains uncertain. As a Black woman in journalism, her journey holds both great opportunity and risk. The choices she makes now could shape not only her future, but also how others in her community are seen and heard. Everything in Episode 6 built toward a sense that something is about to shift, a calm before the storm. People are preparing their next moves, but no one knows the cost. With the city buzzing with gossip and ambition, Episode 7 promises to bring those quiet tensions crashing into the open. Character arcs to watch. Episode 6 felt like a breath held in anticipation, not peace, but a warning. Episode 7 doesn't just continue the story, it threatens to blow it wide open. Now, every character has something to lose, and the public masks they wear are starting to feel too tight. The charm is cracking. The secrets are bubbling up. In the next episode, silence won't be an option. Episode 7 arrives with a sense of urgency. We've seen the sparks. Now comes the fire. Bertha Russell, still smarting from society's rejection at the opera gala, is not backing down. If anything, she's plotting her next move with more precision than ever. She's already broken the rules. Now she's ready to rewrite them. Rumors swirl about a surprise ball, one that could either restore her place or ruin her entirely. This time, she's not asking for permission. She's daring them to stop her. George Russell appears calm on the surface, but is entering deeper waters in Washington. Whispers are growing louder about potential legal trouble tied to his business practices. Men in high places are watching closely, some waiting for a mistake. George doesn't fear pressure, he thrives on it. But with every expansion comes risk. One wrong move, or one betrayal from someone close to him, could cost him everything. Marion is caught in her own storm. She may finally be ready to speak for herself instead of bending to others' expectations. Tension builds around her engagement to Dashiell, who is becoming more forceful. But Marion's heart is unsettled, and she's beginning to see that the marriage being offered might be its own kind of prison. The question remains, will she dare to walk away? Peggy's world is shifting, too. Her meeting with the publisher could take her back to Philadelphia or pull her deeper into New York's journalism scene. She's not just writing articles, she's beginning to shape truth others are too afraid to say. But with every word, more eyes are on her. And not all are kind. Finally, Oscar Van Ryn, still the clever charmer, may be standing on the edge of exposure. One misstep, one wrong word, and everything he's built could collapse. His desperation is growing, and desperate men become unpredictable, especially when their mother is always watching. The trailer for The Gilded Age Season 3, Episode 7 opens, we're greeted not with fanfare, but with silence, a chilling, calculated pause in the aftermath of the opera gala fallout. Bertha Russell stands alone, staring through a frost-kissed window pane. She's dressed in a new, opulent gown that sparkles even in the dim morning light. This isn't just fabric, it's armor. The silence isn't defeat. It's strategy. The gala in Episode 6 ended with cold shoulders, snide whispers, and a firm reminder from New York's old money circle that Bertha is still the outsider, no matter how vast her wealth. But if they thought she would back down, they clearly forgot who she is. Bertha Russell doesn't retreat, she reloads. Inside the Russell mansion, the atmosphere is tense. Staff exchange glances, unsure whether their employer's fury will erupt or calcify into something more dangerous. Larry Russell senses the shift and walks a careful line around his mother. George, though preoccupied with political fires in Washington, remains watchful. His usual calmness only emphasizes the storm forming at home. Bertha is planning something big. Whispers begin to circulate through the gilded salons of Fifth Avenue. There's talk of a rival ball, one that would directly challenge the social hierarchy solidified by Mrs. Astor's allies. This isn't just a party. It's a calculated act of social rebellion. Bertha has spent 3 seasons clawing her way into a world that resents her for it. Now, she's not interested in blending in. She's looking to take over. The trailer gives us a few scattered glimpses of her preparations. A seamstress pins the final crystal on a stunning gown. A butler hands out gold-trimmed invitations embossed with Bertha's emblem. A florist arrives with armfuls of rare orchids, rumored to be imported from Asia at a scandalous cost. She's not just trying to impress. She's trying to overwhelm, but Bertha's bold move doesn't come without consequences. The old money families aren't taking it lightly. In one brief shot, Mrs. Astor's confidant rips the invitation in half with a scowl. Another scene shows socialites whispering furiously in corners, plotting ways to sabotage Bertha's event. The lines are being drawn, and they're not subtle as still, the trailer makes it clear, Bertha doesn't flinch. She walks into her grand ballroom in progress, surrounded by gilded mirrors and the faint echo of orchestral music. She smiles, not out of joy, but out of knowing. She knows that this is more than a ball. It's her declaration of war. In many ways, Bertha Russell is no longer climbing the social ladder. She's setting fire to the rungs and building her own. And as this episode begins, the question isn't whether society will accept her, but whether it can survive her. The opera gala may have humiliated her, but it also awakened a more ruthless version of Bertha, one who doesn't ask for a seat at the table. She brings her own and makes others scramble for a place. The trailer swiftly shifts from the shimmering opulence of New York society to the shadowed corridors of power in Washington, D.C., a city where reputation is currency and secrets are often traded like stocks. George Russell, ever the composed industrialist, is shown stepping out of a black carriage into the somber hush of a government building. The camera lingers on his face, stern, unreadable, but clearly burdened. He clutches a leather briefcase, more than just business paperwork lies within. This time, the stakes are higher. His empire, built on steel and ambition, is now being scrutinized under the unforgiving light of federal investigation. Government whispers, once idle, have grown into full-blown murmurs of misconduct. Rumors swirl that Russell's rapid railroad expansion may have crossed ethical or even legal boundaries. The trailer shows a tense exchange between George and a suited official, one who looks neither impressed nor intimidated. The message is clear. Someone powerful wants to bring George down. What's more troubling is the suggestion that this legal storm may have been stirred by someone within his own ranks. One shot in the trailer shows Larry Russell hesitating as he listens to a closed-door conversation, his expression flickering between confusion and concern. Has someone in the Russell household leaked confidential information? Or worse, betrayed George's trust for personal gain or political leverage? The trailer never says it outright, but the clues are subtle and ominous. In one blink and you'll miss it. Frame, we see a telegram being tossed into a fireplace, its edges curling and blackening in the flames. This moment raises more questions than it answers. Is it George himself burning the message, erasing proof of shady dealings? Or is this someone else, perhaps a panicked ally, desperately trying to cover their tracks? Either way, it symbolizes that the game has changed. What was once business as usual is now a matter of survival. George, ever the strategist, doesn't show his panic. But the trailer reveals cracks beneath his calm exterior. He consults with his attorney in hushed tones, his voice clipped and urgent. We also glimpse him alone in his D.C. hotel room, staring at a newspaper headline, Russell Empire under review. His hands tremble for just a second before he clenches them into fists. Back in New York, Bertha appears unaware, or perhaps deliberately uninvolved in this new crisis. That isolation may signal the beginning of a rift between them. Can George handle this storm without dragging the family name through scandal? Can Bertha continue her social conquest while their fortune and reputation are under siege? What's clear is that George Russell is entering unfamiliar terrain. In the world of business, he's always known how to manipulate the board. But in Washington, he's a player in someone else's game. And this time, one wrong move could not only cost him his empire, but everything he's built with Bertha. The legal storm has arrived. Whether George survives it will depend not just on power, but on who stays loyal when the smoke begins to rise. Back in the gilded world of New York, beneath the shine of chandeliers and the hush of drawing-room whispers, Marion Brooke finds herself teetering on the edge of a personal revolution. In episode 7's trailer, the facade of her carefully constructed life begins to crack. The image of her engagement to Dashiell, once a symbol of stability and proper societal ascent, now feels more like a gilded cage. It begins subtly but unmistakably. At a formal dinner party hosted by one of Fifth Avenue's elite, Dashiell reaches for Marion's hand, not with affection, but with control. His grip is too tight, his smile too polished, and Marion's discomfort is visible. She glances around the table, aware of the watching eyes, yet trapped in the moment. The gesture is brief, but it signals something darker. Dashiell's charm is beginning to suffocate her, and Marion's sense of autonomy is slipping away, but the most powerful moment comes later in the trailer, a quiet, emotionally charged conversation with her Aunt Ada. In the soft glow of their parlor, Marion confesses, "What if I don't want to belong at all?" It's a question loaded with meaning, and Ada's reaction, a stunned silence, says everything. For a young woman raised to conform, this is a radical thought. The rules of society, which once guided Marion, now feel oppressive. She's no longer sure she wants the life that's been mapped out for her. The trailer hints that Marion's breaking point is not just emotional but potentially explosive. One scene shows her standing at the edge of a crowded ballroom, her expression fierce and unreadable as Dashiell approaches from across the room. There's a beat of tension, a moment where it seems she might walk away, even if it means doing so publicly. In the world of the Gilded Age, such a move would be scandalous. A broken engagement in front of society's eyes would mean disgrace, gossip, and possibly exile from the very circles she's grown up trying to impress. What makes Marion's arc so compelling is not just her desire for independence, but the quiet strength she's beginning to discover within herself. Her character is transforming, from passive participant to active rebel. The once soft-spoken young lady is becoming someone who questions expectations, who sees love as more than a transaction, and who recognizes that self-respect might mean losing everything she was told to value, but freedom comes with a cost. If Marion breaks the engagement, she'll not only face public judgment, but may also lose her place in the Van Ryn household, where tradition still reigns. And yet, the trailer suggests she's prepared to risk it. A final shot shows her removing her engagement ring, alone in her bedroom, as the camera lingers on her face, resolute, afraid, but finally honest. Episode May 7th be the moment Marion stops playing the game. Whether that leads to liberation or scandal, one thing is clear, she's done pretending. And when a woman like Marion stops pretending, society better take notice. In Episode 7 of The Gilded Age Season 3, Peggy Scott steps fully into her power, and possibly into peril. Her storyline has always been one of quiet resilience and fierce intelligence, but now, the trailer reveals a seismic shift. Peggy is no longer content to simply observe the injustices of her world. She's ready to confront them head on. With her pen, the episode's trailer opens with a striking scene, Peggy seated across from the editor of a prominent New York newspaper. The room is austere, the atmosphere tense, but her voice is clear and unwavering as she declares, people are ready to read the truth. The line crackles with purpose. It's not just a professional pitch, it's a declaration of war against the silence and erasure that Black Americans have endured in the Gilded Age's polished world. What truth is Peggy about to reveal? While the trailer doesn't give away the full story, there are enough clues to suggest that she's preparing to publish a scathing article, perhaps an exposé about racism, discrimination within journalism, or even the hypocrisy of New York's high society. We see flashes of Peggy at her desk, scribbling furiously by candlelight, cross-referencing documents, and looking through photographs. She's not just writing for herself anymore. She's writing for her community, for those who have been silenced or ignored, but this is not a safe move. One chilling moment in the trailer shows a shadowy figure standing at a distance, watching Peggy as she exits the newspaper office. The camera lingers on her back as she walks away, unaware. Is it someone from the elite circles she's about to expose? A rival journalist? A member of law enforcement tasked with keeping order? The danger is real, and it's closing in as still, Peggy doesn't flinch. Her character has always been grounded in truth, dignity, and courage, and now those traits are front and center. Her father's disappointment from earlier seasons, his fear that journalism would bring her shame or harm echoes in her mind, but Peggy is forging her own path. She knows that telling the truth is risky, but she also knows it's necessary. There's a particularly emotional moment in the trailer when Peggy reads aloud from her article to her mother. Her mother listens silently, eyes misting with a mix of pride and worry. This private moment contrasts the public storm Peggy is about to enter. She is not just a journalist, she is a Black woman in 1880s New York, attempting to shake the very foundation of a system designed to keep her silent. The final shot of her storyline in the trailer is powerful, Peggy, alone at a typesetting press, watching her words being prepared for print. The headline is blurred, but her expression is anything but. It's a mixture of defiance and destiny. In Episode 7, Peggy's pen becomes a sword, and the world she's about to confront may never be the same. Whether she's celebrated or condemned, one thing is clear, she's done asking for space. Now, she's claiming it. Oscar Van Ryn has always worn his charm like a shield, a smooth smile, a witty remark, and the practiced elegance of a man born into privilege. But in The Gilded Age Season 3 Episode 7, that shield appears to be cracking. The trailer offers a haunting glimpse of Oscar alone in the dark, his face tense and pale, as he stares down at a sealed letter resting ominously in his lap. Whatever it contains, it has shaken him to his core. Oscar's greatest secret, his hidden sexuality, has always been a delicate balancing act in the unforgiving world of 19th century New York high society. While he has long maneuvered behind the scenes, arranging discreet relationships and covering his tracks, it seems the net is closing in. The trailer's suggestion of blackmail is unmistakable. Could this letter be a threat? A demand for silence? Or worse, evidence that his truth is about to be weaponized? His panic isn't just personal, it's political. Oscar's family name, especially under the watchful eye of his domineering Aunt Agnes Van Ryn, carries the weight of tradition and appearance. Agnes is already suspicious, her gaze sharp, and her tolerance for impropriety razor-thin. A few frames in the trailer show Agnes observing Oscar from a hallway doorway, her expression unreadable but unmistakably wary. She may not know everything, but she knows something is off, and the timing couldn't be worse. Oscar has been working tirelessly to elevate his public image, courting social alliances and navigating power plays. He recently began charming a wealthy heiress, whose fortune could cement his financial independence. But any hint of scandal, especially one tied to his sexuality, would ruin that courtship and destroy the fragile alliances he's built. One whispered rumor could exile him from the drawing rooms he's fought so hard to enter. There's a particularly telling moment in the trailer, Oscar rushing through a crowd, eyes darting, as though he's chasing, or fleeing, someone. It suggests that desperation is setting in. He may try to confront the blackmailer directly, or he might be seeking to retrieve the damaging letter before it falls into the wrong hands. Either way, his usual confidence is gone, replaced by fear. The emotional toll is also visible. Later. In the trailer, we see Oscar seated in his room, head in his hands, completely alone. The shadows loom large around him, not just literal, but symbolic. He's no longer in control of the narrative. For the first time, Oscar Van Ryn looks trapped by the very world he's spent years charming his way through. Will he confess to Agnes before someone else does? Will he try to buy his silence, or frame someone else to protect himself? Or, perhaps most shockingly, will he risk everything and come clean? As episode 7 looms, Oscar's storyline teeters on a knife's edge. His charm can't save him anymore. Only courage, or cunning, will. But either way, the clock is ticking, and the walls of high society are starting to close in. Agnes Van Ryn, the steely matriarch of the Gilded Age, has long stood as the final word on propriety, order, and the rigid hierarchy of New York's old money elite. Her voice has always been law in her household, her stern presence enough to silence dissent and redirect rebellion. But in episode 7's trailer, something has changed. Agnes appears not with the iron fist she's known for, but in a quiet, unsettling stillness. The camera lingers on her sitting alone in her drawing room, the fire burning low, her expression unreadable, an image of a woman who no longer holds all the strings. This silence doesn't signal weakness, it signals a shift. Agnes is no fool. She sees the cracks forming in the world she fought so hard to preserve. Marion, once pliable and respectable, is questioning not just her engagement but the entire social structure that governs their lives. Oscar, her pride and supposed legacy, is hiding a truth that could bring shame upon the family. Even the larger society, once easily controlled by pedigree and proper introductions, is changing faster than Agnes can manage. The trailer teases a key moment where Agnes listens quietly as Marion voices her doubts about belonging, marriage, and conformity. Instead of interrupting, Agnes remains still. This silence is not surrender, it's assessment. She may be realizing, perhaps for the first time, that her ideals are losing their grip not just on society, but on her own family. The look on her face is not just one of disappointment, but of contemplation. Has she miscalculated? Or is she simply preparing her next move more carefully than ever before? Agnes has long been the gatekeeper of tradition, wielding social power with precision. But in a world where newspapers question the elite, where women like Peggy Scott speak the truth, and where men like George Russell defy the old codes with ruthless ambition, Agnes's world is tilting on its axis. There's a moment in the trailer where she looks out the window at the busy street below, not in judgment, but in quiet reflection. It's a visual metaphor for her place in the story. No longer above the fray, but watching the world move on without her as still. This is Agnes Van Ryn. She doesn't go down quietly. That silence may be her recalibrating, not retreating. It's entirely possible she's preparing a counter-strategy, one last attempt to pull her household and name back into the spotlight of respectability. Whether she will try to control Oscar through stricter boundaries, push Marion into marriage out of fear, or confront Peggy's growing influence remains to be seen, but one thing is certain, the days of unquestioned authority are over. The empire Agnes built is being tested from all sides. Her silence in the trailer feels less like defeat and more like the deep breath before a storm, hers or the world's. In episode 7, the question won't be whether Agnes can stop the collapse. It will be whether she chooses to adapt or go down with the structure she once ruled. Chapter 7, The Ball That Will Decide Everything. The final moments of the trailer focus on the ball, Bertha's ultimate act of defiance. Crystal chandeliers. Glittering gowns. Nervous glances. This isn't just a party. It's a declaration of war. Shots reveal powerful names receiving invitations, and some ripping them in disgust. The old guard is prepared to strike back, but Bertha is betting everything. One wrong move, and she could lose it all. But if she wins, she becomes untouchable. Episode 7 of the Gilded Age Season 3 is poised to flip everything on its head. Secrets are ready to explode. Reputations are on the line. And for the first time, the powerhouses of New York's elite aren't just fighting for status, they're fighting for survival. Stay tuned with Sugar Bee as we bring you full recaps, theories, and insider drama breakdowns. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment what you think Bertha's biggest risk will be. The Gilded Age is heating up, and this is just the beginning. And there you have it, The Gilded Age Season 3 Episode 7 is shaping up to be the most explosive chapter yet. Secrets are unraveling, alliances are shifting, and the glittering world of high society is about to be turned upside down.
Kaboom!
Will Bertha's rival ball shake the foundation of Fifth Avenue? Is George one misstep away from scandal? Can Marion break free before it's too late? And what secret is Oscar desperately trying to bury? Whatever happens next, one thing is clear, New York's elite are no longer safe behind their money and manners. Eyes. So if you're ready for betrayal, ambition, and drama in corsets, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell notification bell so you never miss a single twist. This is Sugar Bee, where we bring you the drama before it hits the screen. Leave your predictions in the comments, because someone's world is about to crash, and we want to know who you think will fall first. Speech balloon backhand index pointing down. Until next time, keep buzzing, and stay sweet honeybee.